Have you ever felt that someone is against everything you say or do, just for the pleasure of attacking you? There is a story about a firefly that was pursued by a snake, determined to devour it at all costs. The firefly flew tirelessly, trying to escape, until it found itself with no way out on the verge of being caught. It asked the snake to answer 3 questions. The snake, knowing the firefly was already cornered and with no escape, agreed. The firefly asked if it was part of what the snake normally ate, and the snake replied no. Next, it asked if it had done anything wrong to the snake, and the snake also said no. Finally, the firefly wanted to know why the snake wanted to capture it. The snake responded, "Because I cannot stand seeing you shine. No matter what you do in life, no matter your kindness or how much you strive not to harm others, or when you work hard at your job, understand that there will always be people against you. We have all encountered someone like that, whether it be a colleague with abusive attitudes at university, friends, or even within our own family. By adopting the practical philosophy of Stoicism, you learn to manage these people who envy the brilliance of others, without needing to fight or argue, with intelligence and wisdom. Stoicism is considered one of the most practical and profound schools of thought, and it teaches us to focus our energy and strength on the things we can control while learning to accept those beyond our reach. If you do not learn to position yourself in life, you will end up being trampled by others, including those who do not like you. Being stoic does not mean being passive or holding grudges in silence, but rather having a firm stance and controlling what you feel by reflecting before acting. So first of all, accept our virtual embrace and feel comfortable learning ancient principles that teach us to live more wisely and serenely. For this video to reach you, another person has joined our community by subscribing to our channel. Liking the video and leaving a comment. Do the same, and you help us bring this mental clarity to many. Now, how precisely can Stoicism help you overcome your challenges without conflict? In this video, we will talk about 9 ways you can do this, so let's begin. Firstly, ignore them intentionally. There is no show without an audience. Being ignored can be one of the worst feelings, so use it to your advantage. If possible, start intentionally ignoring those who declare themselves your enemy or who do not like you. This strategy, though simple, requires a great deal of self-control because you consciously choose to no longer pay attention to the provocations of the person, their mean jokes, their actions, or even their presence. To understand that the power of some people lies precisely in their ability to disturb us emotionally. There are people who find satisfaction in provoking us, and when you begin to ignore them, you automatically cancel that power, sending a clear message that they have no influence over your emotions or decisions. In this way, attempts to affect you are nothing more than attempts. Be a person committed to your moral development and do not engage in the fight. When you start to ignore, your mind is free to focus on what truly matters. You create a mental and emotional space to value every moment of your life, work on your goals, and truly focus on what you can control instead of letting your energy be drained by negative distractions or consumed for hours thinking about responses you could have given, how you could have taken revenge or morally degraded that person. You begin to use that space and time on what is truly important for you. The strength of those who provoke or try to harm you lies precisely in the degree of influence and importance they have in your life, and it is up to you alone to decide the degree each occupies. You can decide not to feel offended, and instead of giving in to provocations, choose wisdom and non-participation. This decision also protects us from the harmful effects of resentment and anger, allowing us to cultivate resilience and a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world around us. This does not mean denying or pretending that conflicts do not exist, but rather that you have chosen not to be trapped in an unpleasant situation someone else created. By following this path, we become architects of our happiness and guardians of our inner peace. Secondly, win using your head. Our second strategy for resolving problems without fighting is to be smarter than the other person. This means using your reasoning, creativity, and ability to think of plans to understand the problem and find a solution without needing verbal confrontation or direct combat. By doing so, you make use of the Stoic virtue of wisdom and manage to avoid problems before they even arise. The struggle of India to gain independence from the United Kingdom is a clear example of how it is possible to win using intelligent strategies without physical violence. Led by Mahatma Gandhi, the Indians chose to protest peacefully and not use violence. Gandhi organized peaceful marches, strikes, and asked people not to buy British products like salt, defying rules that only allowed the purchase of salt from the British. These actions drew the world's attention, weakened the British control over the Indian economy, and increased political pressure for them to leave India. Ultimately, in 1947, India gained its independence, and Gandhi demonstrated to the world the power of non-violent resistance. Using peaceful strategies to achieve political and social goals, in the same way, we can act intelligently in our conflicts and not take unnecessary risks. Gandhi was able to lead India to independence because he had a macro vision of the entire situation. That is, he thought about the situation as a whole. What were the weaknesses of England? What actions could push them to leave? How he could do this peacefully, and how he could use their weakness as strength. Using your head means learning to think, to look at the context as a whole in a macro way. If Gandhi had fought physically, he would have highlighted his physical and military unpreparedness, and thousands would have died. But he transformed the weaknesses of his people into strength and used intelligence to win. In the same way, you can use intelligence instead of physical force or ignorance. Winning with intelligence is not just about having it, but also understanding what drives each person to act as they do, thinking about the consequences of what you do, showing that you master the situation. By doing this, you present yourself as a true leader. Thirdly, transform adversaries into teachers. One of the concepts of Stoic philosophy is to turn adversity into a path. In other words, instead of facing your opponents or enemies with hostility, you begin to see them as opportunities for growth and learning, truly as teachers on the path of life. Because they test our limits, expose our weaknesses, reveal our vices, and show us clearly where we need to improve. In the words of Marcus Aurelius, who was the most powerful man in the world as Roman emperor, the best revenge is not to be like the one who harms us. Instead of reacting with anger, use these challenges to strengthen your resilience, your wisdom, and your virtues. When someone responds rudely by being rude, you also become rude. If someone disrespects you by doing the same, you also become someone who does not respect others. Train your patience, your tolerance, and above all, your calm. In this way, the obstacle becomes the path. Moreover, Marcus Aurelius also advises that when we are tempted to criticize someone, stop and reflect first on your own faults and ask yourself, what fault do I have that most resembles the one I am about to criticize? Sometimes we expect from others what we cannot even do. Thinking this way brings humility and empathy. This also helps us understand and appreciate the lessons our adversaries can teach us. Instead of nurturing negative feelings or seeking to take revenge on your enemies, be grateful for the opportunities for growth you would not otherwise have. Change the way you see people, from threats to opportunities for personal growth and self-discovery. As Epictetus reminds us, what would Hercules be without all the monsters, the fights, and the challenges? He would be just an ordinary man who would never be remembered. It is their enemies that made him a great legend. When you do this, it completely changes the dynamic of your relationship with these people. They may still not like you, but you have stopped caring about that and have ceased wasting your time and energy on them. Fourthly, recognize that your enemy is not the cause of your suffering. The true reason for your suffering does not come from the one you consider your adversary or enemy, or from the person with whom you have problems, but rather from the way you judge and face each situation that occurs in your life. It is not the actions of this person that make you angry or hurt. It is the way you see and react to them that determines how you feel. In fact, this person, whoever they are, helps you see what is happening inside you, shows you where you think incorrectly or react emotionally in an unnecessary way. Your enemy gives you the chance to see where you are placing too many expectations or attaching too much to what you should not. Epictetus, who went from slave to Stoic teacher, admired and taught something very simple but powerful. It is not the things that happen around us that upset us, but rather the judgments we place on them. He challenges the idea that external events have the power to disturb our inner peace. Rather, it is the way we interpret these events that shapes our emotional response. For Epictetus, even when something bad happens, what matters most is how we face it. This helps us recognize that our perceptions and interpretations play a fundamental role in our emotional states. Epictetus believed that we have the power to choose how we react to things, and this choice can make all the difference. When you realize that what bothers you is not the person or situation itself, but what you think about it, you can change your way of reacting and develop more emotional strength without being shaken by provocations. Moreover, this requires a profound shift in perspective, moving from blaming the external world to taking responsibility for your interpretations and emotional responses. Instead of blaming others or cultivating resentment, we can begin to ask ourselves these questions. Why did this offend me so much? Why did what this person said make me so angry or irritated? Why did the actions of this person hurt me in this way? Consider your enemy as a mirror reflecting parts of you that may need attention. Examine how you feel and why you felt that way. Changing the way you see these people helps you change the way you treat them, and also helps you better understand yourself. This wisdom brings a new vision of the situation. You begin to think differently when you recognize that your judgment is the key to your emotional state. See the importance of understanding this. Your judgment is the key to your emotional state. Instead of reacting automatically, you can cultivate a more balanced mind and have the ability to respond rationally and consciously. Moreover, this paradigm shift will bring more lightness and joy to your life. It can help you grow and improve as a person, because you know that your strength and courage do not reside in another person and are no longer controlled by the actions, mood, or consideration of others, unlocking immense potential for personal growth. Fifthly, choose to be great in forgiveness. Forgiving is an act of greatness. It is like exchanging wounds and desires for revenge to find peace within yourself. Forgiving someone does not mean you have to hang out with the person who hurt you or invite them to stay at your home, but rather that you choose to free yourself from all anger, hurt, or resentment. Forgiveness has nothing to do with those who hurt you. It is about not locking bad feelings in your chest. It is not a sign of weakness, but rather of strength and nobility. By forgiving, you show that you control your emotions and create your own destiny. It is an elevation of consciousness that involves accepting the reality of what happened, whether you understand the reasons behind it or not. When you forgive, you break a cycle of resentment and restore the balance of your emotional and mental life. When we let ourselves be carried away by pride, we close ourselves off to the world and create barriers that make any reconciliation difficult. Forgiving is reacting to evil with kindness. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus summarized the meaning of forgiveness in a deeply profound way. It is superior to vengeance because it demonstrates kindness, while vengeance reflects a wild nature. This wisdom highlights how forgiveness can transform lives because it is based on compassion and the understanding of an enlightened mind. When we think of vengeance, we simply react, letting others control our actions, remaining in a way trapped in the situation, always as a victim. But by forgiving, you free yourself and reclaim your power over yourself. Sixthly, transform your relationship with your enemies. This means acting with kindness, understanding, and gentleness to provoke a positive change both in the environment and in the behavior of people. This new way of seeing problems encourages us to promote good, even to those who try to harm us. It is not easy to demonstrate this greatness and act this way, so let me share with you this story of a very rich man who decided to offer a gift to a poor man for his birthday and, with irony, ordered a tray full of garbage and dirt. But to truly humiliate this man, the rich man gave the gift in the presence of all his friends and subordinates. The man, celebrating his birthday in his naivety, received the gift with great joy and kindly thanked him, asking the man to wait a few minutes because he would like to return the kindness. So the poor man threw out all the garbage, washed and disinfected the tray, filled it with beautiful flowers, and returned it to the rich man with a card saying, "We give the best we have." This story shows that you cannot expect people to give what they do not have. Each of us has a baggage of feelings and attitudes, Some can only offer a tray full of garbage while others choose flowers. Choosing love over anger is not only good for the other person, but also helps us grow by broadening our vision and moral strength. In the story, the rich man tried to spread hate and negativity, but his actions did not shake the poor man who responded with love and kindness. In the same way, we too can transcend our primitive instincts and choose to act with love and kindness. By doing this, you rise above petty quarrels and squabbles and show that you are not just part of the problem, but also an essential part of the solution. Seventhly, face them head-on. The seventh strategy we can use to resolve problems without fighting is to face the problem directly. I love a quote from Dr. Matt Murdock that says, "An unconfronted enemy tends to grow stronger." Confronting someone means having a direct and objective conversation. You can start by saying, "I have noticed that you did this and that, and I do not think it is correct. I have not done anything to you, and I want you to stop referring to me in this way." That is confronting. It is not about physical violence, but rather showing that you are aware and do not tolerate certain behaviors. Of course, every situation is unique. If it is your boss, for example, the approach must be different. Confronting is not synonymous with fighting, but with knowing how to position yourself. If you do not show firmness, others may mock you. This does not mean you have to provoke a fight. When you show that you will not accept everything in silence, most of the time the person receives the message and the situation does not turn into a fight. If you accept it once, people do it twice, 3 times, and so on. Consequently, it is important to be ready to assert yourself when necessary. Eighthly, focus on yourself. When we waste time thinking about revenge or ruminating over every situation, we end up cancelling out the essential. Focusing on ourselves, think of it this way. Every minute of your life that you waste thinking about what hurt you or how things could have gone differently is 1 less minute for you. Sometimes we think that the person who offended us might regret it and come back. But deep down, this thought reveals that we are still waiting to be recognized by that person. Our value and recognition must first come from within. No one will ever do it for you. Focusing on yourself means taking on this responsibility and stopping worrying about the opinions and recognition of others, especially those who do not like you. The Stoics remind us that we have the power to choose how we react to any situation, which allows us to make informed decisions in line with our values. By following these teachings, we embark on a path of self-discovery, overcoming ignorance, forgiving and cultivating love, breaking the barriers that prevent us from reaching virtue, wisdom and happiness. Ninthly, the control is yours. You are the only one with control over your emotions. When someone manages to affect you, it is because you have let them. No one has the power to destroy your peace, take away your sleep, ruin your day, or diminish your smile. This control is entirely yours. No one can harm you unless you allow it, because the control of your emotions is in your hands. It is difficult to have to live with someone who wants to hurt us for no reason, but understand that these people, like the snake at the beginning of the video, cannot stand seeing someone shine with their own light. What shows who you really are is what you feel and how you react to it. So no matter if you have many enemies, what matters most is how many people you do not consider enemies and with whom you feel no anger. The important thing is not what others think of you, but what you think of yourself. No matter how many people try to hurt you, what counts is that you do not try to hurt anyone. If your life is not going well, it is not because of others, but because of you. What complicates your life is not how many people do not like you, but whether you hold grudges against them. It is not the bad intentions of others that matter, but how you feel and act toward them. You have the power to change things in your life, including how much you are affected by your enemies. As Marcus Aurelius advises us in his Meditations, choose not to be hurt, and you will not be. Do not feel diminished, and you will not be. And if you have made it this far, comment with gratitude. In this way, you confirm your desire to change for the better.